welcome to this version of the All Things Richmond podcast. I am lucky enough to be accompanied here by Kelli Lemon, radio personality, kind of local celebrity, if you will. Got your hands in a lot of things. So this podcast features interesting folks in Richmond doing interesting things who have their finger on the pulse of Richmond, and I think you fit all that criteria. So thanks for joining us today, Kelli.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's just start with your, your radio career, VCU, and what you do now, 92.1 and other stations. Just tell us a little bit about it, how you got started, why the radio.
It is a very interesting combination. So when I left UVA, I went directly into sports, and sports marketing gives you a lot of on the court stuff. And so I was the person that, shot the t-shirts out or did the halftime games. And so I was very comfortable on the mic. Because I was comfortable on the mic in front of a large audience, they threw me on TV, which was the game day broadcast of VCU men's basketball. It was called Ram Replay. And so doing Ram Replay, Radio 1 Richmond's program director at the time saw me and said, if she can do TV with no teleprompter, then she's got to be able to do radio. And so the career and going from TV to radio kind of just happened organically. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So long-time Richmondite, live on the north side currently, been here since 92.
92, yeah.
So you've seen Richmond change quite a bit.
A lot.
So tell me, let's move into, the Coffee with Strangers. Tell me how that got started.
So I sit on the board for Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club. Matt Pachilli is also on that board. I was hosting this TV show on NBC that used to come on Sunday nights at midnight called RVA Grooves. And RVA Grooves was all about...
What year was that?
Oh, gosh. So this was probably like right around 2008. Closer to 2010.
So beginning of the RVA. That's why I asked. The beginning of the RVA slogan.
Yeah, very beginning. And so therefore, he saw the show and was like, I love what Jerry Seinfeld is doing with comedians riding around getting coffee or whatever. And so we happened to be sitting in a coffee shop, and he said, what if you could just turn around and talk to that person and just have coffee with them and ask them a couple of questions. I said, oh, so you just want me to talk to strangers? And have coffee with them. And she was like, yeah, Coffee with Strangers. And that's really how it came about. Asked, our very first guest was Ryan Kapowski, and he, at the time, was the band director for VCU Athletics. And everybody knew him for his six-man antics. And I asked Ryan, would he be a guest? And he had no hesitation to do it. And here we are. Our 100th episode will drop this fall.
So we're talking 10 years, 100 episodes over the course of 10 years?
In 3 years.
Oh, in 3 years.
3 years,
yeah.
Okay. 100. So 100 episodes, that's a lot of strangers.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So what's your criteria for who you have on the show? What do you guys usually talk about?
Here's a good thing. I don't pick them. Okay. Because so many people will come up to me randomly and say, you should have coffee with me. Kelli, we should have coffee. And it didn't make it strange anymore. Like if I knew who was going to be on the show, I'm that nosy person that will go and research everything. And then my interview style was different. So literally Matt will say, all right, your guest on Monday is. Gotcha. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I'll try my best not to look at, what they do, so that when I sit down with them, I have some questions that I normally ask, but for the most part, whatever kind of flows and happens. Gotcha. I want to know how you're living the city. Yeah, it is how, maybe where you work, but how do you take that outside of your 9 to 5 and that you're applying it to living Richmond? Yeah. Which I think is big right now because there's so many things to do. RVA is winning all these awards for being this shiny city. So it's amazing to see or hear how many people do it completely differently.
Sure.
So
yeah, what people say I love Richmond, it means different things to different people.
Completely things. Yeah. Or my final question to most of them is, if you were on the elevator, your 15-second elevator speech, Richmond is. Yeah. And what comes after that is always different.
Well, that's all. It fits at the end of each podcast. We kind of close with some very specific Richmond questions. I might turn the tables on you and ask you that question at the end here. So that's interesting. Okay, so tell me about Urban Hang Suite. Tell me about what it is, where it is, how it came to be.
Yeah, crazy concept with that. Throughout my whole career, I have been a very social person. And so when I first thought of being a social entrepreneur, in my mind, I'm that person that organizes things for fun. Now that term is very different. A social entrepreneur is about social justice, social change. And in my mind, I just wanted to, see people party, or, we go on a trip, or, we go to the bar, we eat somewhere. And what I was realizing is that I was that go-to person. People would say, Kelly, I got friends coming in town this weekend. Where can we go? Or Kelly, what are you doing this weekend? Or hey, if nothing's going on, can we just chill on your patio over Northside? And I was like, gosh, I wish that there was just a place for people to hang out. Let's roll into, I worked for my friend's brand for since its existence. I just left in 16, Mama J's. So I ran the brand over at Mama J's for a little bit. And while I was doing that, I noticed that people were stool pigeons in Mama J's. So after they ate, they would just sit there because they didn't want to go to a club or didn't want to go home. They had that pass from their kids, and they were just looking for a place to hang out. We didn't really have that. So when I thought about creating a place that people could just be social, the name Urban Hang Suite came to mind first. Urban Hang Suite is originally an album by an R&B artist named Maxwell. So I thought about, Maxwell. I thought about coffee because Maxwell House Coffee. I thought about an Urban Hang Suite, and so it just all kind of blended in. And I want this place where people can socially connect through food, sports, arts, and education. That's my platform. I think you take those 4 things and have one of them, and we can connect somehow through that. Yeah.
So tell us about when it opens, when you walk in, what's it going to be like? You mentioned something in the front, something in the back.
Yeah. So it's kind of divided into 2 spaces. It's right on the corner of 3rd and Broad, right beside Code VA. And when you walk in, it's going to be your ultimate coffee shop. I call it Starbucks on steroids. You're going to get all of your information, your media information. So CNN will be on, the Twitter ticker will be on, just so you can get that good information. Grab a paper, grab a magazine, or ask the person, hey, anything happened in Richmond last night that I didn't know about, and you could get that juice.
Do we have a tank driving down Broad Street, for example?
Did we? And they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you missed. And then quick 15-20 minutes, made to order, sandwiches, salads, bowls, soup, coffee, tea, juices, and then we'll have some grab and go things that will allow some other businesses around. I want to highlight local. So if Sally Bell's makes the best potato salad, I'm going to get the Sally Bell's potato salad to sell in the Urban Hang Suite. Things that are from Richmond and things that are from Virginia. But and so that's your grab and go. You got 15 to 20 minutes, and you need to get in and you need to get out. Then the back of the space will be the hangout space. So the comfortable seats, the community table, the 2 tops, the 4 tops. But it'll also have a little stage. My DJ equipment, the DJ equipment will always be set up for the DJs. I'll have 2 what I'm calling Ellen DeGeneres chairs, so I can always do a podcast or, be able to have people have a conversation, a small 3-piece band. I got a piano from Pop's Market that, I'm going to get tuned. I just want people to do whatever they want to do in that space that makes them creative. Whether or not that's getting up and stating, hey, I am so stuck on this thing at work. Here's what I'm, working on. What do you guys think? I want that to be that stage.
Gotcha. Are you going to sell booze?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Virginia though. All Virginia craft beers and all Virginia spirits. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So what are your hours open from when to when?
Looking right now, 7 to 7, Sunday through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We'll stay open a little bit later.
Okay.
Just to hit that downtown crowd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to know when the grand opening is. We're just a few blocks away.
Yeah.
Broad Street is changing as we speak, and that's a part of it. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about, you've been in Richmond since '92. Lived on the north side, Hanover, the north side mainly in the last 18 years, and you've seen it change quite a bit. So I'm sure some good, some bad. Why don't you just talk about that? What you've seen in the gentrification of the north side, what you like about it, what you don't like about it.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of blessed in the terms of when my parents asked me could they move to Richmond. They were already working in Richmond and we were living in Yorktown, and they asked me could they move. I'm literally thinking we're moving to Richmond.
Right.
And they pull up in Hanover. That's not Richmond.
Sure.
I wanted to get into the city. I loved the excitement. I loved everything about what our capital was giving. Although back then, I think we were number 2 murder capital of the world. It was people did not come to Richmond for a social scene, but I loved it. And back in right around 2000 and maybe 2000, 2000, my dad and I were lucky enough to be able to purchase some homes and flip them. And I walked into this one house over Northside, and I said, I'm not leaving this house right here. I actually saw, in my opinion, like the flower grow from the concrete. It was unfortunately a drug house on one side and a vacant house on the other side. I mean, you didn't move to Northside purposely.
What street was this on?
I am on Findall and Brooklyn Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you just didn't do that over there. And because of that, I learned the neighborhood. I knew it was going to change just because the way RVA was coming about a little bit. And I'm glad I stuck it out. What I paid for my house has quadrupled.
I'm sure, yeah.
And you know, I am one of those people that are for and against gentrification. I believe that we need to redevelop communities. I believe that that there's some areas that need some love. What I don't like is the displacement of those people that built the community. Take my great example of that is I'm okay, but my next door neighbor or the neighbor that lives across the street from me that's lived there for 30, 40 years, who is on a fixed income, whose property taxes are skyrocketing at this point. You know, he is looking for means to make sure that he can cover his bills. His check is not going to change. They don't care, you know? And then those that move into these neighborhoods to really understand that it was already a community. I think sometimes that people move into these areas and they think that they're helping because they've moved in and they've made it better. Where some of these neighborhoods were already okay. They, you know, they talked to each other. They were already neighborly.
It was a community.
It was already a community. And so to kind of come in with this cape on that you saved it and you really didn't, I think that's the part that kind of can be disturbing to people. And to know it from a developer standpoint, to know exactly what the neighborhood needs, instead of maybe looking at, you know, what you're going to get out of it more than who are we displacing? Are they going to like the things that we brought to this neighborhood? Will it benefit them? And, you know, there's conversation about a brewery coming on Brooklyn Park Boulevard at the car wash. And again, I was vocal about it because...
So for those that don't know, what were your public comments about that?
Was that something that the North Side needed first? And because I'm in media, I am one to ask the question so that everybody can get their statement out there. Because with media, if I give my opinion first, then...
It taints the water, right?
Yeah. Sure. So, and so my question was whether or not it was something that we needed. The meeting, people were making it seem like this was going to be the thing that changed Northside. That's the anchor. That is going to build this community. Well, if you know, and I love craft beer. I'm a big fan of it. I have my Heart and Soul Brew Fest coming up at Hardywood, so I know all about it. But the demographic over in Northside doesn't know about craft beers, nor do they understand it, nor do they think that a $6 beer sometimes is necessary.
You
know? And so when you're saying that this is going to be that thing that's going to be that anchor and that hub for the community, what part of the community are you talking about? The new community that's there? Because you might not be talking about the existing community. And what for me, for living there for 18 years, what I do want to see is, a great restaurant, and not a high end, and not a low end, but that middle of the ground, restaurant,
a neighborhood spot,
a neighborhood restaurant. Some fitness. We need some fitness over there. Whether or not it's yoga or cycling or whatever it is, we need something over there to get the bodies moving. I would also, which again, I know that this may be hard. I'd love to see a grocery store. Kroger is our closest grocery store.
You go to Kroger on Broad?
I go to Kroger on Broad.
The VCU one, right?
Yeah, Whole Foods, of course, is coming a little bit closer, but not really. It's still on Broad, up the street a little bit, and you got Food Lion and Azalea. But there's, we're considered a food desert over there. Sure. I would love to see, a great healthcare facility over there. So again, I have a list of things that I would love to see. I am for the brewery, but I'm also for some other things as well. Yeah.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah. And the double side of gentrification is, like I said, my house has skyrocketed. Right. Like I can sell and still be still be able to afford a great mortgage, so to say. But there are some people that have been offered $50,000. Right. They've never seen that much money in their lives. Right. So to be handed $50,000 cash, but then your house then gets sold for $400,000. Sure. And you can never move back in to that, price point.
To the neighborhood again. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's interesting because I think that obviously the homeowners benefit from equity, obviously in the house, but the folks that have, it's the renters and it's the folks that have owned their house forever, mortgage paid off, like you said, but now their taxes have increased 2-3x and they're living on fixed income. And it's like, what do those folks do? Yeah. Now, obviously, hopefully, if they are homeowners, they have some equity that they can tap into either to sell the house, but then they have to go somewhere, and that's pain. A lot of these folks are older and it's tough. It's gentrification, on our last podcast, we talked about it as well. And it's an interesting topic as these neighborhoods in Richmond, are changing, so it's some good, some bad. And
each of them have their own thing. Right. Like we can't compare Churchill, Manchester, or Blackwell, however you want to state it. Right. And Northside to Scott's Addition. Right. Scott's Additions was warehouses that turned into a neighborhood. Sure. That's totally different. And I think a lot of times I hear people say, God, I wish we were like Scott's Addition. We can't be.
Right.
You just can't be. So
Scott's Addition is such a unique happening, where it was located, the current use, and it didn't displace a lot of residents because like you said, it was mostly warehouses. But interesting. So I guess let's talk a little bit about the Pulse, the bus rapid transit, your thoughts on it. So far, were you excited about it? Are you glad it's here?
I was excited about it. I was one of those people that I'm glad that we are doing things that help benefit the entire, population. So when we're looking at food deserts, public transportation, affordable housing, and education for all. Anything that can help that, I'm for. Sure. Not everybody is. When we talked about the meals tax, even down to it's going to schools. I think people are so apprehensive because they want to know whether or not it's really going to go to schools, or did we exhaust everything that we could possibly to not have a tax again put on meals? Did we look at cigarettes? Did we look at, increasing the tolls? Did we look at things like that? Right. So, I am for anything that is helping us become a more rounded city. So I'm down with the Pulse. I wrote it. I helped promote it. I love the fact that you could get from Rockets Landing to Willow Lawn. From a business perspective, if I park my car now on Broad, I can just jump on wherever I want.
You can go to the Urban Hang Suite and go wherever you want.
Wherever you want. Yeah. So I'm down for the Pulse. Yeah.
So you mentioned, just what you alluded to, distrust of where the fund's going, city government. What are your thoughts on the public's trust of city government over the since you've been here? Yeah. You've seen Doug Water, you've seen Dwight, now LeVar. Where do you put it now? Compared to the last, I guess, 10 or 15 years.
A lot of people, didn't like Doug, Dwight, and they're not fans of LeVar now either. But again, I think it goes back to what was given, what they were handed and what they have to fix. And again, although we're the capital from a state perspective, I think from a city perspective, we're learning. We are changed into this big city that never had these issues before. So whether or not they're doing it right or doing it wrong, we don't know, and as we are growing and as we are, putting these policies and procedures into place, we won't know if they're going to work until most of these people are gone, and take LeVar, for example. I feel sorry for him sometimes because he's going to have to ride out the whole 8 years. Hopefully he'll, get elected or want to do a second term just to put his mark on some things because he's trying to correct so many
pushing
things.
A boulder up a hill, right?
Yeah.
It's take a while for it to start rolling on its own.
And I think that another good thing is we are now being very vocal too. We're showing up to city council meetings. We're showing up to civic association meetings. The Richmond resident, and I have to say Richmond, because there are some people that are out in the counties that want to get involved with the conversations, but you don't live, nor do you work, nor do you make sure your kids are in these schools. So it's not that the conversations aren't important to you, but we do need to have more conversations with those that live, work, and play in the city.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So any topic we haven't talked about before we get into our lightning round here, any topic that we haven't talked about that you want to talk about today?
No, I like the direction that Richmond is going. My big thing is for people to just be completely open-minded. We do live in a tale of two cities. We are Richmond versus RVA, and I don't know if you kind of heard that conversation. There's a lot of pieces being written about that, and that is truly for RVA being the brand and Richmond being the history and the place. And I'm waiting for them to connect a little bit. There's a little gap.
And what about what needs to happen, like for that to happen? Like what are the next steps?
We need to be a little bit more inclusive and get out of our comfort zones. Sometimes when I am out, I am the only Black person at something, and if I didn't go, no Black person may have ever went to that. And the flip side of that, I have some of my friends that will say, I didn't even know about that. Well, did you look? Did you step outside of your comfort zone? Vice versa, And I think that in order for us to be an inclusive and diverse city, we're going to have to get uncomfortable. Yeah, no, I agree. Well, our lightning round is eerily similar to the stuff that you already mentioned, so I think you'll enjoy it. So, favorite restaurant in Richmond? I will always say Mama J's. Because I could eat her food every day.
How long have you been hanging out at Mama J's?
They opened. I've known Lester, Jonathan, Mama, and all of them for a minute. But when they opened, I started working there when they opened up the doors in 2009. Okay. So yeah, I can't eat the catfish nuggets, but. On my 50th birthday, I'm going to sit in MCV with some catfish nuggets.
And why can't you eat them?
I'm allergic to them.
To
catfish?
Fish? Really?
Fish, yeah.
Oh,
so
man. Bummer.
I heard they're amazing, and
they are,
I might as well just sit in MCV and just live my best life.
Have Benadryl shot ready.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite brunch spot?
Favorite brunch spot? Okay, that might have to be a toss up. Between I'm a fan of Metro Bar and Grill. I like their shrimp and grits. Lulu's has a great corned beef if they still have it. That might be seasonal. Okay. Those two I would have to say. The Boathouse will give you a good brunch too. But yeah,
Rockets Landing Boathouse.
Yes.
Out there?
Yes.
Okay. So favorite outdoor either place or activity to do in Richmond. How do you enjoy Richmond's outdoors?
I like Libby Hill. I like the view from Libby Hill. But if I have to say an outdoor activity, but anybody's porch or patio in Richmond is my all-time favorite.
Something where you can see people walking by, driving by, things
people
happening.
Watch and out there with a nice beverage on a nice day.
Okay. Well, what on this day, what beverage are you gonna be having on this porch?
On this day, I'm drinking red wine on this day. But it would probably be a sour beer.
Okay.
Or a Crown on the Rocks with 2 limes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess putting that all together, this is the question that was very similar to yours. So you're bringing a friend into Richmond on a Friday, leaving on a Sunday, and this person's not from here, and they want to experience what Richmond is to you. Where are you going to take them Friday night, Saturday, Sunday before they leave?
Okay, so Friday night, we are probably...
You were ready for this question. Yeah. Everybody else, I got to think about it. You're ready to roll.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be... Because they're probably going to stay at the Hilton or the Marriott. Okay. Just because I love both of those places. On
Broad Street?
On Broad Street,
gotcha.
Yeah. And we're probably going to go to Vagabond. Okay. Because I host a party there every Friday night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so Friday night, we're probably going to go to Vagabond. Then Saturday morning, we're probably going to get up and either take them down to the James River, just kind of walk, the river part. And then we'll probably eat brunch at one of the spots that I discussed. And then we'll probably go and explore either VMFA or I'll take them, in the short pump if we want to go, shopping, or we'll just walk Carytown until we can't walk anymore.
Right.
If there's kids involved, one of the parks, we'll hang out there for dinner, either Mama J's, Croaker Spot, or Bottoms Up is another one of my favorite little underground spots. So I'll probably sit on the patio at Bottoms Up, and then Saturday night we'll probably hit the Fan and just hop from
Bars in the Fan.
Yeah, Bars in the Fan that I know, and in the night, somewhere hopefully dancing. Out in the Fan somewhere. Okay. Sunday morning, we'll get up, probably go to church, and then hit another one of the brunch spots. Okay. And then end the day, on another patio. Nice. Or the Graduate Quirk or the Graduate or Quirk. Their rooftops are good on Sundays too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fun weekend. I like it. So one last question came up as you were talking. Well, two questions, I guess. Completely changing topics here. Yeah. So you seem like you have kind of intermixed your jobs and your social life, where I feel like you host a party on Friday night. That's probably work, but it also feels like play. And you feel like you do and do you separate work and play, or is it all one big thing?
It is all one big thing right now, because I don't do anything I don't love. Right. So that was like one of my things. If I can't say curse word yes to it, then it's a curse word no to it, you know? And I've just been blessed to be able to say that my passions pay me. And so Friday nights, yes, is work. And people are like, oh, but you're not working, but you can go home. Right. Like I have to stay here till it's over with. So technically, at
the end of the night probably feels like work. You're cleaning up and
putting things away. But yes, I'm completely blessed to be able to say that I left a corporate job and I've created something that I love to do. Therefore, it doesn't feel like work. Yeah, it's play.
Well, cool. So last question, you started hinting, and if you want to repeat something you mentioned on the north side, I guess the last question, what does Richmond need next? What would you like to see Richmond, whether it's a change of some kind of new business, some kind of fun thing to do? Like what would you like to add to Richmond next?
Someone has asked me this, and I really like how we have organically changed. I would have never thought that we would be this small business incubator. I would never think that Richmond would be the place that you travel to in the summertime. I would never think that we made any of these lists. So I like to see how we're organically changing and kind of fitting in the mold of okay, yes, we can have this now as we're growing. Yes, we need this now as we're growing. So if anything, going back to what I said, just more opportunities for us to be inclusive and open-minded and for people to create those, like the workspaces, like the Urban Hang Suite will do, these places where people can be social outside of working. I think we need more of. I'm glad to see that we're revitalizing downtown from a entertainment perspective. Love the Coliseum, but I'm
going the way it looks.
I'm so glad that we are finally focusing on a way to change that area and be an entertainment hub. Right. I'm excited about that. Sure. I wish we could get it together with sports. I don't know if you know the Rough Riders left already. How we have the #1 arena football team and they're already gone. So we know the squirrels will always live strong, but I do wish we had more professional sports.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. Well, this podcast is about interesting people doing interesting things in Richmond, and so people like you are making Richmond a better place to live. And so for that, I'll say thank you, and keep doing awesome stuff. It's fun to watch all the stuff that you do, and thank you for joining us today.
I appreciate it. Same to you. Yeah. I love all that you all are doing as well. Keep changing Richmond.
Well, thank you. We will. Let's do it.